Hey, this is Brock from Paradise Slaves, and you're watching the Vulgar Display Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the Vulgar Display of Podcast, live from the Barn Studio. You got the Mox and Anthony here.
Yo.
And we're joined online with a special guest. We have Brock from Paradise Slave. Brock, how are you, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Are you up in Alaska?
Yes, sir.
How's the weather?
Well, it's been a pretty mild winter, to be honest. But just when we thought spring was coming, it's been snowing for the last couple of days. Supposed to get 1 to 2 feet today.
Oh,
So yeah, it's typical Alaskan winter, but the light is at the end of the tunnel. We all got spring fever around here for sure.
Yeah, we're feeling the same. We're in the Midwest, so we get, I feel like, a little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
I think the high today was going to be 73, but then we had a winter like watch or something
Right,
in the
yeah.
same day. So
yeah.
you never know.
Okay.
Hey, it's an exciting time for this, I would say, newer band, Paradise Slaves. You got a new album coming out with Hell in His Eyes on May 2nd when Spinefarm Records. We got an advance copy. We want to thank your publicist, Tim, with Adam Splitter PR for sending it over. We're in love with it already. And obviously, you got a couple singles out, so some people have already heard most of it. But yeah, we're really digging this record, man.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, definitely cool to have some new music coming out and start this journey with the boys. I knew the boys for the last 5 years, I guess now, but other than Jon Kita, who I've known for 20 plus years, touring with Diecast back in the day. The other boys I kind of just met through this project initially with Tyler Stroetzel. So yeah, it's a new friendship and we've been having a blast getting to know each other and creating music together. And basically just kind of one of those things that just you don't expect to happen and then it does. And then you kind of just, lean into it. And that's what we're doing. So we're having fun. Making music and navigating the waters of the release and all those things.
I think I seen you quoted somewhere where you said this project or this band came together through a mix of serendipity and just mutual respect for each other. How did the even idea come from? Because you're in Alaska, right? That's where you were born and bred and probably will die. And then I think these other guys are on the East Coast, so you could not almost even within the states. You cannot get further apart, right? So I'm sure it's a lot of file sharing and sending ideas back and forth. But the original idea, how did that happen?
Yeah, I was just at my house one night, got a text from my buddy Joel Stroetzel, and he let me know his brother was doing a solo record and was trying to get some singers on it that he enjoyed and asked if I would sing on a song. So I love Joel and whatever he asked, I was down to help out. So I met Tyler through that. Tyler had an album coming out called Dark Verses and has a bunch of great singers on it. And I was, stoked that he asked me, and we just became fast friends through that. I lent vocals to his song, and then we were just becoming, closer as COVID was just kind of kicking off. So there wasn't a lot of outside of the house time, so we just started writing a few more songs together, and next thing I knew, basically he had brought in Kita and Brad Horion, who had played with him in Diecast. So the three of those guys were in Diecast together, and then Ryan Manning, the drummer. That's a pretty funny story, actually. I think Tyler found him on YouTube playing drums to his track that I sang on. And, that was crazy to me. And they met up. And then the next thing I knew, a couple months down the road, I was getting a ticket to Westfield, Massachusetts, and having wings in a bar and hanging with the boys for the weekend, and we just had a blast. And it kind of just started from there. Wasn't expected, surely wasn't looking for it. But yeah, I'm happy that it happened, and I love the guys, and we've been having a lot of fun.
Well, you mentioned Tyler, and that's Joel from, and you just kind of flippantly said it, but that's Joel from Killswitch. And quick side note, we actually seen them last week or the
Last
week
week,
before. Absolutely killed it. I mean, out there all these years later and sound as good as ever. And that those early mid 2000s was such a special time for that genre. I'm glad to see that it's still being respected today.
Oh yeah, those guys are legends. The best dudes, write the coolest music, and I'm loving their new album. Just got a lot of love for those guys. They've been my brothers for many years.
You took a little bit of time off from music for a while.
Yeah, I was pretty much, hanging up the mic, really. I mean, I'd gotten a job at the rock station that I grew up listening to. I do the morning show on K-Whale, a little shout out. And I really was enjoying being home. I love my bed. I love being around my wife, and my daughter was growing up. I missed a lot of her early life because of touring. And, I just was kind of burnt. I wasn't enjoying music the way I had in the past. And so I think I just kind of thought, maybe it was time to move on into the next phase of life. And that's kind of the path that I was going on. And like I said, when I got that text from Joel, I was stoked because, it was kind of another little branch to write a song to, which I wasn't doing at the time. And then it just turned into more. But I wasn't really planning on doing much more music.
When, after you took that time off, were there any kind of, did you encounter any kind of trials and tribulations, kind of getting back into the swing of being creative in that manner and writing and doing vocal melodies and things like that?
Well, not really. I mean, I've been writing, for as long as I can remember, if it was journals or vague poetry or whatever you want to call it. So, I think I kind of didn't realize I needed it so much. I actually was kind of contemplating writing a book during the start of COVID with my daughter. We kind of were messing around for a few days. And so the writing stuff, the creative side of me was still, needed. I just didn't probably realize that it was as needed as it was. I think everybody was kind of pivoting during that time and trying to figure out what was going on and all that uncertainty. And I don't think it was too tough for me to, obviously as different musicians, I've been writing with the same musicians since I was 18 years old. So I'll be 50 next month. So it was a long history of writing music in a certain way. And, doing it with a new group of guys was super fun to me and fresh. And I think that was the appealing side of it to me.
Where did the so as Mock said, we have an advanced copy of it. Where did the inspiration and the idea behind covering Soul Asylum come from? Because it's a dynamite cover, by the way. It's
oh yeah, thanks.
And a great band, by the way. Yes. I love Soul Asylum.
Yeah, well, it's just that I wanted to cover that song probably since that album came out. I always loved that song. Runaway Train was the big track, I think, on that record, but I wasn't really a massive Soul Asylum fan, but I always loved Somebody to Shove. And I thought it could be, maybe definitely not better, but maybe a little heavier. And so, I was stoked when the guys were cool to try it out, and it was fun to do.
Me and Anthony here have been longtime Soul Asylum fans, and I seen that. I was like, dude, go listen to this because the guitars on it are actually kind of heavy, like even in the original. So I could see hearing that and being like, oh, dude, we could really do something like this. And you guys did. You guys nailed it.
Thank you.
Anybody that's been following your career, I think, and maybe I'm projecting myself here, just knows that your lyrics are important to you, and they always seem to be pretty personal. And I think I get the sense that that's the sense on this record as well. And specifically the song Dreamers, I know seems like it comes from a very important place or an important issue in your life, and go into it as much or as little as you want to, but there was maybe some immigration issues that you guys were kind of struggling with as a family. Can you talk about that some?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to articulate, how challenging those years were. My wife's from South Africa, and, not being familiar with the immigration process, I kind of thought initially, once you get married, you just become a citizen. But, and maybe that was the way back in the day, and then people abused that and they kind of kiboshed that whole thing. So now you got to go through quite a bit. And we went through it for like 5 years. A few of those years were COVID, so there was nothing being fast tracked. And the harder part for my wife, we're talking about, you guys are from the St. Louis area, and I'm in Alaska, and that's pretty far away. But think about Alaska to Johannesburg, South Africa. You can't really get much further. So while you're going through the process, you're not allowed to leave the country. And that was another thing we learned. And her parents are, getting up there in the years, and her mom got tremendously sick during COVID. And man, I was just praying that something terrible didn't happen where she, that was the thing, because her mom did get sick, and we tried to get her like some sort of pass to leave and go visit her mom. And we basically were told that unless her mom is passed away, you can't leave. So it was kind of brutal. And, those days, those highs and lows of trying to keep the morale up was difficult, as it was for everybody. But for me, that was a massive challenge for our marriage. And, I'm happy to say my wife has a green card now, and we survived it. And we went and visited her family during Christmas for 3 weeks, which was incredible. But so that song, obviously the Dreamers were the people that came to the States, and I just kind of took it from there, and in turn, wrote about my life story on that.
It sounds a little cliche, but you hear a lot of artists talk about their lyrics and their writing being therapeutic for them. Is that the case with you?
I think that's always been the case for me, so yeah, it is cliche, right? Because so many vocalists, lyricists say that. But I mean, what else is it supposed to be for? For me, I'm trying to write things that are obtaining to my life. I very rarely go off into like a global scale of, issues. Everything I know is, staring right back at me in the mirror. So it's all my life experience, and I try not make it too blatant so people can interpret it their own ways, because I know people do like to do that. But yeah, I mean, these are my stories, and these are my highs and lows. And at the end of the day, I'm always trying to find a positive light. But some of this stuff is darker than we intend it to be, and maybe it's all right to be there also.
What do you hope the listener takes away from this?
I mean, to be honest, I'm grateful for anyone that's interested in listening. I hope they enjoy it. It's got that nostalgia feel, We're having a great time making music together, and I don't put a lot of weight on it either way. If you like it, I'm grateful. If you hate it, there's a million bands. Go jam them.
You got a couple features on this too. You have Trevor from Unearth. Man, is that right?
Yeah.
And I forget the song name that he's on. Which one is it?
Swim North.
Swim North. Yeah. How did that? I mean, if you're a metal fan, you gotta like that guy, right? How did that come together, and how do you feel like it helped the song?
Well, it helped the song because he can scream his ass off, and I don't like screaming. So, yeah, no, I mean, I know Trevor for many years. We toured with Unearth a few times back in the day. Those are our brothers. And, also being in the New England area with the boys, they're all close friends with them also. So it just made sense. And he was available. We've been great friends ever since. He damn near broke my shoulder off arm wrestling for 24 hours straight on a tour one time. So, yeah, no, it's great to have Trev on there, and he killed it, man. He's a talented dude.
They released an album a couple years ago that, man, I really fell in love with.
Yeah.
Really kind
Fell
of
back in love with them.
yeah, I fell
Yeah.
back in love kind of thing.
Hell yeah.
Hey, I got to talk about a little personal story if you don't mind, real quick. October 27th, 2006 was one of the greatest days of my life. Now, I have three daughters and a wife, so I have to put those first. But I will say top 5 days of my life or nights of my life. It is the 2006 World Series. The St. Louis Cardinals won, and me and all my buddies had tickets for our favorite band, 36 Crazyfists, well in advance. And it just happened to fall on the night where the St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series. One, do you remember that? Two, somehow we ended up backstage with you guys, and you were supposed to go on, but you knew the whole crowd was on, on TV watch.
Yeah.
And you delayed going on until after they won it, and then you took the stage. And I'm getting chills here even thinking about it because you lit the night on fire. Do you remember that night?
Oh, 1000% I remember it because they were wanting us to go on, and we're massive sports fans, so we knew what time it was, and there was like, no way are we going on until this game ends. And the Cardinals winning, that was special. And partying all night that was Pops, right?
Yeah, Pop.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that place was always a blast. I mean, the name Pops 24 Hours, and I think 4 strip clubs on the property there, and it's just like it's rock and roll for sure. So I definitely remember that night. That was a lot of fun, and good pizza there too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Always one of our favorite places, still one of our favorite places to go. And yeah, that night was just so special for Cardinals fans. We're huge, diehard Cardinals fans, and we're watching, our favorite band, and then, you guys making the decision not to go on. I think the crowd appreciated that, to wait for it to actually happen. And then when you do go on, it was electric, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, not the smartest dudes in the world, but we knew better to do that.
Well, it was the right choice, and me and my buddies, we tore it up that night as well and ended up climbing into the stadium afterwards. And, people hear Pops and hear that it's in Illinois, but it's really St. Louis. It's like 2 miles from the stadium. So
Right, just down the street, down the hill there. Yeah, no, that was a special night for sure, and it was kind of cool to be around. I was born here in Alaska. We had a semi-pro hockey team, but we never had a professional team. So everybody's allegiances are all over the board for every sport. I mean, we're probably the most eclectic sports fans in the world here because we don't have our own pro team. And being around you guys and loving sports like I have my whole life, that was infectious, and I was stoked to be a part of that with you guys.
well, we appreciate it and want to shout out Chuck and John and Dick and Jason and Tim and Anthony here. It was a special night for us.
It was.
I used to crush it Super Buck Hunter in there all day before the doors open. I'd just be playing.
Hey, go ahead.
Brock, what's the intention behind supporting this album coming out? Are you guys planning on a tour or anything like that coming up?
I mean, I wish I had a better answer for you in that. I don't really know. It was kind of not that I set rules or anything, but I got responsibilities here. I got 2 amazing jobs, and my daughter plays at a high level of girls hockey. So the bills got to get paid. You know what I mean? And so we are definitely playing some shows. We play here at the arena. I work at the arena here. I'm the events director here. So we're opening for Five Finger Death Punch on August 9th here. And then on the 2nd of April, we release another show date that just got booked. So I'm not going to be able to steal anybody's thunder in the band because they booked it. But I'll just say it's on the East Coast.
Nice. With Hell in His Eyes, May 2nd on Spinefarm Records, Paradise Slaves. We're digging all this stuff, man. Got a couple videos out, so if you're listening to this, go check them out. And then May 2nd, we have the record release. Brock, we are big fans, and we really dig this record, and we appreciate your time, man.
Oh, man, I'm grateful to you guys. Thank you so much for the kindness.